Once upon a time in a villa century ago, an elegant young lady stepped into a room, as if unveiling the hidden treasures of time. At that moment, they had no idea that two time-trapped adventurers would weave a century-spanning tale with just one letter. In those neatly penned words, the man learned that her name was Liqian, and she was entangled in an arranged marriage dilemma. With no way out, she poured her heart into what seemed to be letters to a lover she'd never meet. These slightly melancholic letters unfolded like an ancient scroll, quietly stirring Cort's curiosity. For some bizarre reason, she found herself at her computer, ready to bridge a century to respond to this mysterious lady. Oops, marrying someone you don't love? Don't waste it. The man of your dreams could be trapped in this sculpture. Right now, it's just a blank slate. Who knows? That night, Cort tossed and turned, feeling an inexplicable familiarity with those words. The next day, she called the antique shop owner, eager to unravel the mystery behind that enigmatic table. She arrived at a very old villa, ready to ask about the table, but was coldly shut down before she could even speak. Back home, Cort shared the incident with her mom, who felt a pang of sympathy seeing her daughter's disappointment. Mom handed her an old ink bottle and suggested, "Why not try writing with this pen?" She recommended the sole remaining post office that still operated before the Civil War, noting that the rough paper had its own unique charm. In the night stillness, Russell's made computer-generated words lively with greetings. Cort had no idea why she was engaging in such a crazy endeavor. Yet, with a hopeful heart, she made her way to the post office, carefully sliding the letter into the mailbox like conducting a time experiment. One evening, a maid stepped out of the villa and took the letters from the mailman, including Cort's reply. Even living in the conservative 19th century, her heart wasn't bound by such dogmas. She was quite the romantic, lingering on fleeting beauty, yearning for true love. She yearns for a passionate collision of souls, rather than the dull strangers before her eyes. Subtitles, however, even though she managed to break free from the shackles of feudalism, she still couldn't avoid the pressure exerted by her father, and felt a sense of helplessness amidst his constant nagging. Liqian finally opened the letter from the future, revealing secrets buried deep within her heart. Her mouth fell open in shock, and her expression turned complex. She immediately opened the hidden compartment, only to find the letters had vanished without a trace. Cort, watching the game, felt a mysterious urge to glance at the table below every so often. She moved toward it, ready to switch it on, when suddenly she found her letter in a previously empty compartment. The letter bore that woman's name, and Cort's heart raced uncontrollably. She could hardly believe such an absurdity was actually real. In the letter, Liqian issued doubts and warnings, calling Cort a homewrecker. Fighting the shock inside, Cort sat back at the table and began to explain everything. Leaning by the window, Liqian carefully read the explanation from the homewrecker, and though incredulous, she chose to accept it. From that point on, thousands of words traveled through time, building a romantic bridge between two souls that could never meet. They confided in each other, sharing joys and woes as if time and space were irrelevant. As their letters became more frequent, they realized they had fallen deeply in love. To learn more about Liqian, Cort mustered her courage to knock on that villa's door again. Luckily, this time the maid didn't stop her and instead introduced her to the lady of the house. Cort found the elderly lady was Liqian's granddaughter, and this house was her former home. At the mention, the old lady's eyes momentarily glistened with tears as she excused herself to rest without answering. Cort felt it inappropriate to pry further and sadly stepped out, but just as she was about to leave, she suddenly stopped. In the same spot a century ago, Liqian seemed to feel something and paused gently. Hesitantly, she extended her hand, her heart racing until she felt a response from the other side, and then she smiled gently. In that instant, even time seemed to part for them. Once back home, Cort immediately wrote to Liqian, sharing her recent adventures and including a photo of the villa. Liqian sat on a bench in the garden, reading the letter over and over, tears streaming down her cheeks. She felt grateful that they could sense each other and find each other across the century. However, the true soulmates were separated by an insurmountable distance. As time flew by, Liqian loved to write poetry, hoping to see her work published. Subtitles, however, that particular suitor wielded the power within the magazine, rejecting her under the pretext of immature skills. Now, this is a century-spanning love drama. Don't forget to subscribe.